agricultural produce. As an RASV member, you can support the development of Victorian agriculture whilst receiving a host of exclusive member privileges. RASV members are entitled to a range of benefits, including complimentary admission to all 11 days of the Royal Melbourne Show, access to members-only hospitality areas, and exclusive discounts and special offers. To find out more about becoming a member of the Royal Agricultural Society of Victoria, visit rasv.com.au.
Since 1885, RDNS has been helping Australians stay active and independent in their own homes. RDNS provides a range of home nursing and support services to help you to live your best life.
They come back to greet us.
Whether you're experiencing illness, injury, or just need help around the home, we are here for you every step of the way.
Yeah, and it feels like home. It feels like home.
RDNS, the nurses who come to you.
We have our ladies showing to Galloway over 14 and not over 15 hands. Class number 256, and then we show our champion, showing to Galloway, and our reserve champion, showing to Galloway. Well, our class currently underway in ring 1 at the moment is our ladies show hunter Galloway over 14 hands and not over 15 hands. And our judge for this particular event is Miss Rachel Laurie from South Australia. And I think our judges have swapped rings after lunch this morning. Rach is down here in ring 1, and we've got our other judge from this morning in ring 2. Well, I'll have a little chat to you about our judge down here in ring 1, and then Case, you might like to introduce our judge to us in ring 2. Rachel, of course, is well known to many of us throughout the showing world. I won't say for many, many years, because she's not all that old, in show hunter Galloways and hacks. She's been involved in showing horses and ponies for many years at state and national and royal show level, and has been very successful with multiple Royal Show Champion Awards to her credit as well too. She's been a national multiple place getter in the Gary Owen, and she's been a champion rider at Adelaide and Melbourne. And for the 2 horses that we can remember of Rachel's, which were stunners, I don't know if he said on the track, but stunners out here in the show ring, was a horse called Bond and a horse called Millionaire. And of course, we remember those 2 horses very, very well. Took this lady to many championships along the way, and wrote her name into the record books as one of our great equestrians. Rachel Laurie, our judge out here in ring 1 this afternoon.
Well, Dad's had the pleasure of introducing you to our judge in ring number 1. I get the pleasure of introducing you to our judge in ring 2. It's Neil Carpenter, and Neil comes from New South Wales, but he's originally from the UK, would you believe? So Neil has been involved in horses for many years and has had the opportunity to work with many state, royal and national champions across both open and breed sections too. Neil has judged throughout Australia at many local and state-based agricultural shows, as well as Sydney Royal, Bathurst Royal, the Canterbury Royal, and of course the Australian Hunter Horse Association Nationals too. So our class out in ring number 2, you can see at the moment underway, should be class 185. It's our Gentleman's Galloway.
Well, also joining us today is also a lot of our friends who we're live streaming to today, and for many people, not only so much here in Victoria, but around Australia and around the world for that matter, they can catch up as to what's happening here at Royal Melbourne Show today. And we might take you on a little bit of a journey in relation to some of the classes and what we're seeing out here today. Interesting, madam, to refer to Gentleman's Galloway and Ladies' Galloway. I think it probably would be nice of us to explain what a Galloway really is. We've got people probably sitting in the audience here today. I've got no idea what we're talking about, but we're talking about a horse that's got beautiful characteristics consisting of presence, elegance and beauty. And all these attributes at times are pretty well hard to achieve in just one animal, but it's really what compels and holds the attention of the judges and spectators when that one special Galloway enters the ring. What is a Galloway?
Well, our Galloways, of course, are those horses that are on a height group. So when we speak about our horses, we refer to them as 3 categories. We've got our ponies, we've got our Galloways, and we've got our hacks. So we break them down into 3 sections. So these guys are almost the middle of the height. So when we measure a horse, we measure them standing obviously on a nice flat, even surface, concrete's best, and we measure them up to the wither. So if you can see out there where our rider's hands are, just underneath our rider's hands is the wither. So when we measure our horses, we measure to that point there, which is, we refer to it as the highest point of the horse. And we decide then what their measurements is. So a Galloway is between 14 to 15 hands. Our hacks are horses that are 15 hands and over. And our ponies are horses that are 14 hands and under. Now here's ones for you, Dad. What are we referring to when I speak about a hand?
Well, in the old, now I know what you've asked me. In the old
I always confuse
terminology, we call a hand 4 inches, or in the new terminology, it's 10 centimetres. But I often say, if you look at the palm of your hand, open the palm of your hand, let it face you at the moment, from your pointer finger to your little finger across that broad part of your hand is normally about 4 inches in width, unless you've been working with a woodcutter or someone who's had a real hard life in relation to working on a farm, and he's got those big gnarly hands. But the average person, the hand is probably about 4 inches. So what we used to do in the old days, if you never ever took a measuring stick with you to a horse sale or whatever the case may be, you could always get a rough idea by running your hand from the wither down to the ground, as you said. Pardon me. And we could work out what the height of a horse is. So if we're talking of a pony, so a small pony here, we're talking about 10 hands. I'll keep it in tens because we can do it easy that way. We're talking about a horse in the old that's 40 inches height or 140 centimetres because we just multiply the 10 by whatever the size is. So it gives us a rough idea, roughly. Terminology speaking, we have to measure our horses every time they're shown. You must have a height card to come out into the arena, and sometimes we see horses that are transferred from class 1 to another class. And that is because some horses can change height. You wonder why they would change height, but depending on how they're shod and how they stand up for that particular person, they can quite often, measure quite dramatically different in the measuring side of things. So it's a little bit of a trick to get some horses to stand up. I know the old fellas of yesteryear could get their horses to stand up differently to try and get into one class and not another. I'm not too sure whether that still goes on nowadays or not. But
I think a lot of it goes down nowadays. I think there's, obviously if you want to be in a specific height group, there are ways of which you can change your horse's height. But if you're bearing close to the margin, that is. So if you wanted to remain a Galloway and you're bearing close to the 15 hand mark, you will see some riders, they will work their horses before they get them measured. That's called working them down. And of course, working them down is to try and get their height down as low as they can, because the horse will generally drop in its wither height after it's worked, but not by much. So we're speaking the smallest of margins here, which in some instances is the difference between one class and another.
I mean, we often work our classes in halves, don't we? I mean, it's 12 hands or better, or 14-2, or over 15-1, and those sort of height variances. So when we're talking of a small margin, if you've got a pony that's 12-2.5, and you've worked him for a moment or two, and all of a sudden you can work him under 12-2, well, that makes you eligible for a different class and run into different horses.
I know I have you up here for a reason, because everything that you explain then in terms of inches and et cetera, I just don't work in those measurements anymore. It's all about the centimetres, the millimetres, and all those things that you don't understand. So this is why I get you. You're really handy for working old school.
You didn't know what pounds, shillings and pence was the other day.
Well, what did I say? Stops on a threepence. Threepence?
Threepence, yes. Threepence was what you used to get in your Christmas pudding. And a sixpence. It's an eighth of a florin.
I hear these terminologies, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
Hey, can you not remember what threepence was?
I don't. How would I know what threepence is?
Well, decimal currency come in 19... Oh, I know, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, okay. I said 1966 decimal currency come in. So when you were a little girl, when you were born, what year were you born?
81.
Well, see, you had no idea.
I don't know. I've got no idea.
So I can't imagine that. I mean, even the old English pound. I mean, I still know what an old English pound is and things like that. But even
I remember cents and 2 cents.
Even though I didn't know what the currency was, you still learn. You still should know.
Okay, we've got a presentation. We better stop waffling.
Well, this is our gentleman's Galloway over 14 hands. So you can do your maths. You multiply 14 by 4 if you're working in inches, or you multiply it by 14 by 10, and you've got your 140. So that should make sense to what we were talking about beforehand. All right, here we go. All right, our orchestra just having a little bit of a spell there for a moment. So class number 185. Gentlemen's Galloway over 14 hands and not over 15. It goes to number 1736, Gordon Park, Royal Avenue, ridden by Jason James. Congratulations, Jason. Well done. Exhibited here by Jacqueline de Vrome from Barrable in Victoria. There's a bay mare. Foaled on the 28th of February 2008 by the sire Willowcroft Regal Emblem out of the dam Gordon Parker Lure. Second goes to number 770, Lismere Showtime, ridden by Casey Shevlin and exhibited by Casey from Napoleon's in Victoria. Napoleon's, for many of you, is just outside of Ballarat on the Colac side, or the BX side, whichever way you want to go. But it's to the south of Ballarat. through the forest. Congratulations to our first and second place getters. And our gentlemen's Galloway over 14 and not over 15 hands, class number 185. Now let's keep talking about our Galloways here, because we've got to be a little careful in some instances what we say, because our job is not to influence the judge in any way, shape nor form, but I'm sure she wouldn't be listening to us at the moment. But the Galloway, as we were trying to describe to you beforehand, very much the height classes consist of what we call small Galloways and then large Galloways. So the difference between a ladies Galloway and a gents Galloway.
Well, for me, a ladies' Galloway is a Galloway that is a very kind working Galloway. It's not necessarily the prettiest horse out there or the horse with the best movement. For me, if I was the judge, I would be judging on what is the kindest working horse for a lady. A horse that you'd like to sit on all day, that works well, is obviously asked to do all different types of movements without any rejection through the rider, is soft in the mouth, lovely length of rein across the top of the horse. And just, as I said, a horse that you'd really like to sit on all day. For me, it's a kindness class. It's a horse that, a little bit like what we saw with our junior child's hacks a bit earlier, it's the horses that do everything that they're told, that are really, really responsive and just really well educated.
Could we say that the perhaps maybe the small Galloway then is the type of horse that would carry its rider to compete in not so much saddle classes but rider classes and turnout classes?
Well, this particular class is covering all range of the Galloway, so you could be from 14 to 15 hands. So this is just generally from what the judge thinks would be the best Galloway for someone to ride. And we can see out here our horses are working beautifully for them as well.
It's an interesting case. We talk about Galloways, and yet it's a real trick to be able to breed a Galloway, to breed a really nice Galloway, because we're looking for a horse that's got some pony structure about it. It's got to have some fineness about it. We're also, as we're getting up in height from our ponies, we still want to try and get that pony look, that pony head, you know, that attractive look about it, a little bit of that wow factor. And of course, we managed to do that by crossing maybe thoroughbreds into pony stallions and Vicky Verka.
Well, it's also harder. We're looking at here at the moment in ring number 1, we're looking at a show hunter, as opposed, as you can see, walking out in front of the crowd now are our open Galloways. So we're watching here, both classes are going to be the same. Coming out into ring number 2 is our ladies Galloway. But the difference is, if you will have a look at it's probably the easiest way is you can tell the difference in the classes as by the attire that the riders and the horses are wearing, but also by the type of horse that you get out there. So a show hunter is a horse that's more broad in substance. So in ring number 1, if you watch the big screen, the horse that we're looking at the moment is quite broad. It's a big, thick, strong type. And quite often, in a workout for a show hunter, our judge may at any time ask for a gallop, because what we're trying to emulate here is a horse galloping across the fields. And if we can watch our horse working out, we may see that potentially there might be a gallop or an extended canter in there in some description from our workout. It's generally done alongside, so we might see one now, depending on the workout. I haven't been paying that close enough attention. Oh, here we go, we're going to change of rein. But beautiful, thick, broad types are our show hunters.
Now, there we are. We could see also another thing that judges must have asked. We can see this particular rider here taking her right hand off the rein and just riding with one hand.
There's our gallop.
So we see the rider getting over the horse's neck, just allowing a softness of the hands to allow the horse to roll along, because that's what we want to see.
The kindness of those transitions. Sometimes a horse can, quite often when we ask them to come out of a gallop, generally fight the rider as if to say, no, please, let me keep going. That was so much fun. I'd really like to enjoy galloping across this ground. But we're looking for the kindness when the rider asks the horse to come back, the softness in the mouth. and obviously working with the rider and the ability to come back to any obviously aid or transition that we want, being that the walk, trot or the canter.
Now, the other thing also, Case, when we're talking of the Galloways, I think the beauty of the Galloway is it can not only be ridden by a child, but it can be ridden by an adult as well too. I mean, we get a lot of, I won't say adults, but we get a lot of younger people who are, to me, too big for Shetlands, and at times often too big for our pony classes. And yet we can get the other scenario whereby we've got our littlies that look too small on a hack. But the Galloway is that little one in between. There is that type of horse that's in between that can suit both structures of people. I've got to be very careful how I say this because everyone is built differently.
They are.
Everyone has got a different shape about them. And the bottom line is these are horses. The Galloway is a horse that can cater for both of those types of people.
Well, the perfect way of putting it is we had the Australian stock horses in here on day number 1 at Royal Melbourne Show. It's great to have our stock horses back. We call them the breed for every need because the stock horses pretty much cover every aspect of equestrian eventing, show jumping, polo. The stock horses are absolutely brilliant for cutting. But our Galloways, we could say that. It's the size for every need.
Now, we saw a horse before who worked out. We don't have to mention names or anything like that at all, even though we're live streaming. And I was absolutely astounded, and you picked it up, the coat on it, which tells us a couple of things. Case, it's not all about show sheen and what you use to get the coat to look its best on the day, but this horse was gleaming from the inside.
These coats are obviously, at this time of the year, can sometimes be a little difficult for our coats to come through to be very shiny and healthy, and there are a few tricks to the trade that a lot of our equestrian showies do use to try and get the maximum out of their horse's coat, because we're sort of in the midst of transition of season here. But yes, there was one lovely horse out there before whose coat was just dappled. And now when I speak of dapples, how can I refer it? Dapples is like someone's almost drawn black circles through a horse's coat. And our dapples, when we refer to them in the horsing world, is something that shows how healthy a horse is from the inside. The horse is really gleaming and well looked after.
Isn't it funny? Years ago, we'd only ever heard of a dapple grey. You'd never heard of a dapple bay or a dapple black, would you? But nowadays, I mean, there's a grey pony on the other ring over the other side there at the moment. Now, you can see all the circles on him.
Well, that's a dapple grey.
That's a dapple grey, isn't it?
So there you go, boys and girls. If you're sitting in the stands, you can see what we're referring to out here. If you take a look in ring number 2, and I think it's pretty much the only grey horse that we have out on our Herald Sun Arena for the moment. When we refer to dapples, this horse is a classic example of that. See how the coat is almost like someone's got a texture and drawn little black circles over the horse. They can only come from the inside, those circles on a horse's coat, and it just proves how healthy the horse is.
Well, there we are on the big screen. We've focused on the horse that we were talking about, and you can see he's dappled all. He's almost nearly what we call a steel grey to a certain extent, but he's a lovely grey, isn't he? Lovely colour. But that's what we refer to when we talk about dapples. Not only for a grey horse, but we can have them in bays. We can have them in. Well, we don't see too many dapples in a lot of chestnuts, but the bays and the black horses, when we see them dappled up, we know full well that these horses within themselves are very, very, very healthy. It's a bit like you jumping out of the shower of a morning, madam, and whacking some shampoo on your hair. Then you put some conditioner on your hair, and then all of a sudden your hair becomes softer and it has a sheen to it, depending on whether you're blonde or dark.
There are some wonderful products that the horses get fed, some additives, things like Livermole, Cocoa Liv. There's some wonderful products that are on offer nowadays. We can even use a raw egg. Would you believe horses eat raw egg?
Yes, we used to put eggs, but we used to put eggs with a little bit of sunflower oil. And even made sure that we did have sunflower seed. The seeds that your cocky seed, you know, the cockatoo
Coffee
seed.
seed, sunflower seed,
bird
boiled
seed.
barley.
Yep.
There's another
All
one,
those little
boiled
things.
barley.
Yep.
So there's so many things, oil, mutton bird oil. There's plenty of things that we give with our elbow grease, says one of the ladies in the grandstand, and a lot of elbow grease, a lot of brushing that coat out.
That's a woman's product, that elbow grease, isn't it?
Oh, come on, Dad. It's a man's product as well. You'll create a stir if you say that.
Oh, at least I got a laugh out of her.
Oh, we got to laugh. Oh,
She's just running. She's doing a Kevin Sheedy to me. She's actually running the finger across my throat. When you're surrounded by women at home, I can say whatever I like and get away with it. Well, I hope that will just enlighten you a little bit more about the Galloway and what we look for, and perhaps explain a little bit to you for those of you that aren't familiar with our industry of the equine world. And I know there's probably a lot out there today as we live stream to them that will probably have learned a little bit about some of the terminologies we use. It's quite often because I do a little bit of cycling commentary every now and then, and we use terminologies in cycling that would have no relevance. People would be sitting over thinking, what the devil are they talking about? Well, I think it goes for a lot of sports, actually. But the equestrian world also has some strange terminologies that we use as well, too. Someone said to me once upon a time, oh, they named a place over in England after the Galloways. I said, what's that? It's Galway. I said, no, it's spelled differently. All right, well, let's see where our judge here, Rachel Laurie, has placed her thoughts today at our Lady Show Hunter Galloway. And congratulations, we go to first place. The blue ribbon goes to number 426, Royal Queen of Sefton, ridden by Jessica Stalling. J&R Equestrians from Gymea Bay in New South Wales. Second goes to 685, Bambara Country Style, ridden by Courtney Bird, exhibited by Nina Beresford-Smith from Whiteheads Creek in Victoria. Third placing goes to number 1160, Bow Park Literati, ridden by Elizabeth Greshner and shown by Elizabeth from Shemore in Victoria. In fourth place, we look at number 115, Wyoming Park Royalty, ridden by Sally Miller, exhibited by Nancy Miller from Toolan Vale in Victoria. Fifth placing goes to 1367, and that's Terra Felix, ridden by Holly Ticehurst and exhibited by Tolly from Mount Evelyn in Victoria. And in sixth spot goes to number 1207, Invic Amani, ridden by Julie Wender and exhibited by Julie from Maiden Gully in Victoria. So congratulations to Royal Queen of Sefton and Jess Stalling. Jess has had a huge couple of weeks. We had the privilege of watching Jess ride in Adelaide a couple of weeks ago. And in talking with Jess, I said, where are you off to? You coming to Melbourne, Jess? Yes, I'll be there, Rob. But she headed, I think, to Sydney and then to Canberra and then somewhere else and filled in 2 or 3, 4 days on the horses somewhere else around various shows, and then probably jumped on a plane and come straight down here. So for a lot of our equestrians, male and female, you can see a lot of their time and a lot of their world is taken up by showing. And this young lady that we're going to see out here is one of our top lady riders in this nation, let me tell you. And is very much sought after as a rider for many of these pony classes. Do you ever get asked to ride other people's horses?
On the odd occasion, yes, I did. It was wonderful. I loved riding other people's horses, but it's always hard. And this is what separates a good rider from a brilliant rider, like we're looking down here when we refer to Jess. Sometimes in terms of riding other people's horses, it's difficult to ride each horse because every horse goes differently. So it's always a trick of the trade, but those good riders know how to do it so well.
Well, I think we can give Jess a little bit of ride-off music. Good to see her down here enjoying Royal Melbourne this year. Royal Queen of Sefton, Jess Stalling, taking out the Ladies Show Hunter Galloway. Now entering one at the moment, we are judging our champion show hunter Galloway over 14 hands and not over 15. So it's class number 263S, and that's our champion and reserve to come out of this particular classes here.
Yeah, she was chewing the toy today and hurt it in the mouth.
Oh yeah, that's Sophie. Hurt her
So
gums.
I put Bonjela on her twice today.
Yeah.
You had a day of Bonjela.
But she ate. She didn't eat the bottle, did she, Karen?
No.
She just ate and had a bit of water.
I love that picture of her with the bottle.
Yes.
My little independent mother.
Yeah.
Oh, the picture of the video. Did I send you the video?
Yeah.
Did you send it to your mum?
I just sat it there and gave her the bottle.
Yeah. She was at what?
She let me know when she dropped it.
Shut the door.
Yeah, I locked it. I locked it yesterday when I fed her. She held the bottle most of the time. And she put the head up and my daddy
Sweetheart.
took it off her.
Can you please pass me my phone? I'll just check with the Evans to make sure they're in their locker so I can get changed.
Sally Miller rode the fourth horse in there.
Yeah, she did. Did you?
Was it Sally?
Yeah, it was. I got the binoculars and had a look.
It's the guy with the big ponytail riding the horse.
Where?
Or is it a girl?
That's a gill.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Nice, Tissy.
On the grey horse you're talking about?
Is it grey? No.
On a big bay.
Oh, no,
Hunter
it's
one?
not there anymore. Oh, the guy that lunging the horse.
Oh.
No, that's a gill. That's a gill.
Oh, no, it's probably not who it was.
I like that lovely one, that big hunter. It'd be a show jumper, would it?
Where are you looking?
Well, with the, it's got two white back legs, white saddle blanket.
Just a big hack.
Nice, isn't it?
He's a nice big hack, isn't he?
Yeah. Lovely.
Karen, here's your stepmother.
Oh, we got the results for the Galloway. We're not touching for the X-rays.
For the colt.
Karen, have a look at this girl ride.
Yes, I had a look at her before. How could she be my stepmother?
Casey's stepmother.
You said mine.
No, I didn't say that at all.
You did.
She's got a hole in her joggers.
Oh,
got a
has
what?
she? Oh, right in the crutch.
Easy access.
Actually, that green and
Is there a saddle on that
green
horse?
stripe one,
Hey?
she's got a
Is there a
hole
saddle
here.
on that horse?
I haven't noticed.
Hello, my friend. How are you? I will, yeah, but I also want to go back to your locker because I actually want to get changed. I've got to put a dress on for the high tea. Yeah.
Taking the hands off the
Yeah,
steering wheel.
that's fine. I just got to put a dress on. That's all. So. I'll come down and see you anyway if you're just under us. I'll come down and see you before the end of it all. I'll come and see you when I finish feeding. Bye. See how she's being smart here because it's a ladies' Galloway. Notice she dropped the hand.
Yeah.
Remember how I said how it's supposed to be a smooth.
Now you watch her get over the neck here. Bridge the reins, and away she'll go. She'll gallop. Well, get up.
So she's riding smartly there. And that's a Sefton horse, this one. So the same breeder.
Oh, right.
By the same daddy as the horse that we looked at the other day. Yep. So it's by the same sire. So this is the type of horse that we looked at hunting the other day, but this is the grown-up version.
Yeah.
Same dad. So the big stallion that you saw, this is this one's dad.
No.
Would you stop it? No, you need to poo.
reason why it's forward in the front leg too, Karen, because it's sore in the front, so therefore it's going to bring its knee further forward, Karen.
Yes.
You listening to me?
Trying to. She's looking at me again.
What did I just say?
About going forward.
Was forward in front in the knee.
Forward. I could see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's going that way because it's sore in the front there, so therefore that's why it's other legs forward.
And there's a splint in the cannon bone, near the cannon bone. Apparently, was it?
There's one on the cannon bone and one under the knee.
Cannon bone, one under there. Would you stop it? No, I'm standing at the corner. Can't see.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, class number 186, which is our ladies Galloway over 14 and not over 15 hands. And we'd love to call forward to receive the blue ribbon number 1416. Westwards Mastercast, ridden by Bryony Payne. M&M Burns and D Banks' nomination from Clyde in Victoria. So, Bryony, congratulations to you. Second goes to number 1824, Warrenwood Nasser, ridden by Jackie McGregor Thomas. Jackie McGregor Thomas from Wonga Park in Victoria. Third to 713, Langtree Royal Affair, ridden by Fiona Kitson Walsh. Fiona, of course, from Toorak. Our fourth placing goes to SLM Louisiana, ridden by Francesca Christie from Tynong here in Victoria. Our fifth place to number 300, 300, Silkwood Sublime, ridden by Tamara Lee and ridden by Bryony Lee from Whittlesea, Victoria. And our sixth place to 383, Monsieto Park Royal Flush, ridden by Benton and the Benton and Hall family. So our congratulations to our winner there, Westwards Mastercast, ridden by Bryony Payne Randall, number 1416. coming out of Wonthaggi. Reserve at the Capital City Royal Show in the Open Galloway at Sydney Royal on the 18th of March. Was Champion Horse of the Year, also considered for equality in the Open Galloway at Barristock. Also won the Open Galloway at Lancefield. And reserve at the Capital City Royal Show Open Galloway at Adelaide Royal on September the 2nd, 2015. And also at Maffra, took out the Open Galloway there as well. So a wonderful lead in to Melbourne here for this year. So congratulations. Westwood's Mastercast, ridden by Bryony Payne Randall. Well, as we say farewell to our blue ribbon winner, well done, Bryony. Congratulations. And we focus now on ring number 1. As soon as our horses leave us, and our judge there, Rachel Laurie, just casting her eyes across these horses as they leave the arena, we're about to announce the champion, Show Hunter Galloway. Our ribbons and our rug about to be presented here in a moment. The woolen trophy rug supported by Future Farms, presented by Mrs. Kate Dettell, I think, was going to join us today. But we would like to call forward, ladies and gentlemen, will you please congratulate our champion, Show Hunter Galloway, for 2016. Goes to number 834, Wizard Town, Barrington and Wright from Murdoch in Victoria. Well, I think it's time for us to, now our photos have been done and our judge has awarded the relevant ribbons. Time to introduce our reserve champion to you. Ladies and gentlemen, our reserve champion, Show Hunter Galloway, over 14, not over 15 hands. We call forward number 426, Royal Queen of Sefton, ridden by Jess Stalling, J&R Equestrian from Gymea Bay in New South Wales. Well, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our champion and reserve champion in our Galloway class this afternoon. Making a lovely picture. Our two horses here. Two wonderful exponents of our Galloway classes here this afternoon.
On a farm full of surprises. He's the sheep who's ahead of the flock. The one and only Sean the Sheep. He might be little, but don't let that fool you. He's cool, courageous, and incredibly crafty. Climb to the top of the heap with Sean the Sheep, A Prickly Problem. Now available on DVD.
When was the last time you did something you couldn't? When was the last time you shocked everyone and helped change the world too? Oxfam Trailwalker. Register at trailwalker.oxfam.org.au.
I love Daryl Lee.
I love Daryl Lee.
I love Daryl Lee.
I love Daryl Lee. I love Daryl Lee.
We love Daryl Lee.
We love Daryl Lee.
We love Daryl Lee. We love Daryl Lee.
We love Daryl Lee.
We love Daryl Lee.
Daryl Lee, loved by Australians since 1927.
Good on you, Mum. Tip-top's the one. Good on you, Mum. Good on you, Mum. Tip-top's the one. Good on you, Mum.
Peter Hitchener has been delivering your news for 43 years.
Every day,
leading Melbourne's most experienced team.
the Hawks aren't
The team you know. The team you turn to. The team you trust. When news breaks, Melbourne turns to 9 News. Always there, always on. Experience is why you see it first. On 9 News.
Get ready, get set, let's go. If we never go, we'll never know. 'Cause you and I, oh yeah, we could fly so high, so high. You and I won't let this moment pass us by, pass us by.
Kids like it, dads like it, even good old Auntie Madge likes it. Nobody doesn't like Sarah Lee. People who dig holes like it,
Not to mention Mom.
blokes with no hair like it.
Teddy bears like it.
Did we forget anyone? Volunteers like it, folks with ears like it, friends you haven't seen in years like it. Nobody doesn't like Sarah Lee. What was that? Magic.
That's when something wild calls you home.
Disney's Pete's Dragon.
Cirque du Soleil's Coosa, Under the Big Top at Flemington Racecourse. Book now.
The compact SUV for wherever you dream of going. From only $26,990 drive away.
the Honda HR-V.
Fellas, we all having fun? It's my turn to get the oranges. I'll get Willie's half-time oranges. They're so juicy, their hands get stickier. Your ball skills get better. Go Bears! See what I mean?
Juicy Australian-grown half-time oranges.
That's why I pick Woolies.
I think it's a million amazing moments, you know, tucking her into bed at night.
To see them start to smile again and interact with others and be happy and giggle.
I don't give them as much as they give me.
Being there for each other and loving each other.
We know we're making a difference, and that's always just a great feeling that we get for doing it. Anyone can do it.
You can change these kids' lives.
Every day, more Australian consumers are choosing to go local, and the trusted destination for all your big brand home appliances is your local Better Store. With over 170 stores Australia-wide, you get the buying power you need. With the type of service you thought was long gone. Need it delivered and installed? We can help with that too. And whether you choose to shop online or in store, you're helping your local community. Why? Because the people that run your local Better Store own it. So go local. That's better.
Good on you, Mum. Tip-top's the one. Good on you, Mum. Good on you, Mum. Tip-top's the one. Good on you, Mum.
When was the last time you did something you couldn't? When was the last time you shocked everyone and helped change the world too? Oxfam Trail Walker. Register at trailwalker.oxfam.org.au.
The bold new Honda Civic comes with a wide-angle reversing camera as standard, so you can get going with ease.
Bring up maps.
And with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto across the range, you're free to chase it in any direction, wherever your dreams may lead. The bold new Honda Civic from only $24,990 drive away.
Professionals will make your home star using new media, new tools and new systems to reach more buyers. For your free online property price check and market appraisal, visit professionals.com.au.
Attention now, of course, is to Ring 1 at the moment, which is our next event out here to be judged, class number 305. Our intermediate riding competition for riders 16 and under 18 years of age. And we welcome a new judge to the arena this afternoon, as we can see here on the big screen now, actually. Angela Rodham is judging our intermediate riding and our Providence Cup and our junior turnouts as well too. Angela has been riding since a very young age on her way through not only Pony Club to the show ring. Angela also been successful with ponies, Galloways and hacks at agricultural and royal, state and national titles as well too. She's also numerous Champion Lady Rider Awards at Royals and state titles to her credit as well too. So Angela, we welcome you to our Royal Melbourne show and enjoy your time out there as our judge, starting today here with our intermediate riding. Now, our class we're having a look at here at Rings 1 at the moment is our intermediate riding competition for riders 16 and under 18 years of age. That's open to boys and girls. our only event at the moment, which is being judged in Ring 1. Here on the third day of our Royal Melbourne show is 305, class number intermediate riding competition for riders 16 and under 18. And of course, it's open to boys and girls. Well, our judge just having a little confer with her stewards out there, and we'll, in a few moments' time, we'll know who our winner is of this class 305. It's our intermediate riding competition, riders 16 under 18 years of age. Well, class number 305, intermediate riding competition, riders 16 and under 18 years of age. And we'd like to call forward number 1869. Congratulations to Bryony Lee riding SLM Valentino. Congratulations, Bryony, from Whittlesea in Victoria. Second placing going to number 1721, Riley Kent from Gowanaba in Queensland. Third goes to number 1838, Madeline McDonald riding Cheriton Cool Waters. Our fourth place goes to number 1983, Alexandra Buster Jones from Wyong in New South Wales. Fifth placing goes to number 1453, Vienna Smith. And our sixth placing goes to 299, Holly Dennison from Monbulk in Victoria. Congratulations, Bryony, taking out the intermediate riding competition, riders 16 and under 18 years of age. Bryony has had a ripping lead up to this particular show. And some of these events I'm going to run through here now have probably been outdated since I last saw this young lady ride, because I'm sure she was also crowned as a champion girl rider of her class in Adelaide just recently. She, of course, was second at the Capital City Royal Show in Melbourne here on September 22 last year. She was champion here at Canberra Royal Show on the 28th of February this year. She also was first at Shepparton, first at Kyabram, first at Rutherglen, first at Pakenham, first at Wangaratta, and first at Nathalia. So one of our top riders is this young lady about to leave the arena here right now. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. One of our up-and-coming young stars of the equestrian world, Bryony Lee. All right, moving on to class number 306 now in Ring 1. And this is our intermediate riding competition for riders 15 years. Class number 306 to be followed by our champion intermediate rider and reserve. Well, young lady, you've had a little bit of a transformation since I've seen you last.
Yes, well, I thought it would be about time to put a dress on and decide to get a little bit frocked up, as they would say, and head on over to the Garryowen High Tea. I'm really looking forward to the rider draw. I think I'm really looking forward to seeing who's unveiled into our Hall of Fame for this year, but most of all, I'm looking forward to eating, really.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes. It's lovely food over there that we get.
Scones and cakes and cups of tea. And
lots of scones, lots of cakes, definitely a cup of tea coming my way. But before I head over, I'm going to obviously sit back, relax and enjoy watching this riding class out here. The numbers have diminished since the days when I was back riding. I think I was speaking up here before about the days of old with Rachel Laurie. We were speaking about how many years ago when we used to head out for their riding classes that there was somewhat anywhere from 100 to 150 competitors within the age groups back in the day. So
you say that, and it's interesting to hear Rach talk about that beforehand, actually, and you're spot on. But the difference nowadays is it's harder to qualify. You must qualify to get here now.
Well, that's it. There are a lot of horses and a lot of exceptional riders. And in order to qualify for a Royal Melbourne show, you need to have won at one of our state's agricultural shows. And, of course, everyone at those shows trying to do the same thing. Everybody's trying to obviously get qualified for the Royal Melbourne. So they're not easy to get, these first blue ribbons. And in order to qualify for a Royal show, to be out here, you've got to almost be the best of the best.
Well, see, in your day, you probably wouldn't have had to qualify to get to Melbourne.
Look, there was qualifying to be done, but it wasn't to the extremes of what you have now, where you must win at agricultural show level. Back in the days, you could have won at a pre-royal or any just a gymkhana and used that as a qualifier, whereas nowadays they're unaccepted for a Garryowen or
I suppose
even...
what we're seeing now, though, Case, is that our riders that we do see out here, even though they're small in number, the quality is high.
Well, look, we mentioned it, as we said before, if you were listening to our live stream when we were talking about our Galloways that were out a little bit earlier, when we refer to our riders, when we see our riders out there nowadays, this riding, this age, I reckon is the real pinnacle for our riders, the transition where they're strong enough now to move on to a hack or a thoroughbred. They can either ride a Galloway or a pony, depending on their leg size and how they stretch down in the irons. But this age group is a wonderful age, and it's really the transformation we see from intermediate to adult riding is done now.
One thing I was going to ask you, and we had a good friend of ours up in the box just a few moments ago, one of our leading racehorse trainers, and Tony Vassell. Now, you've gone from the show ring to being a jockey. Now you want to go back to the show ring, and I'm asking you the transition from having your knees tucked underneath your chin to going back and riding this length again. How hard is that?
Well, look, that was one of the reasons that I gave it away in the first place. Unfortunately, I can remember a day I rode at Barrastock. I managed to get a championship out at Barrastock, and unfortunately, I then had to go to the races after that. And you know, it's really, really hard to go out, ride a racehorse, have your legs tucked up underneath you, tell the horse to go flat out, and then all of a sudden try and ride as pretty as what these riders are demonstrating out here now in the ring. It's very, very hard to do. So unfortunately, one of them had to give for me, and it was the showing. And now that the racehorse life is pretty much over, my race riding days, now that I'm a new mum, hopefully something a little bit of a quieter lifestyle. Some people might laugh at me for that, but a quieter lifestyle with the show ring beckons for me. I'd love to go back, but will my riding be the same as what it used to be? Who knows? We'll see.
Well, we'll see how the checkbook is at the end of it all.
There won't be much left, I wouldn't think.
That's the burning question. Yes, I know. That's the burning question. But, you know, we look at these young riders out here, and I think many of the people that know what I do for a living, that I also teach at the apprentices school here at Racing Victoria, and it's really hard to turn around and accept these young people out here as athletes. When I say hard, for you people out there, as we retreat, you think, oh yeah, they're just horse riders. They're not, they're athletes, jockeys, they're all athletes. The strengthening and the core work that we get them to go through is quite horrendous, to be quite truthful. I'm not too sure how hard you used to work on your fitness. I know that you ran a lot and you walked a lot and you worked on your body strengths, but as far as as core strength is concerned nowadays, it is really something that is a huge plus for you.
Look, they've said it in the past that when you hear some of the stars, they say that horse riding is probably one of the biggest workouts that you can possibly get, better than any gym exercise, because there's not one part of the body that's not being worked at any one time when you're riding a horse.
Well, you'll be surprised. Can I butt in there for a moment? You'll be surprised when you work it out how many calories you use when you're riding a horse.
Well, all our riders are trim, taut and terrific as we watch them out there now, and that would be part of the reason. But there's a few riders over the years when we speak of racing in terms of riders, the transition from racing and showing different riding styles. Only very few of us have done it. We see the Thornton kids that are in the racing world now. Stephanie, Damien, Boris. Damien and Boris obviously were great equestrians in the show jumping world. There's Patrick Maloney, who's one of the state's leading riders now in terms of being a race rider and a jockey. He came out here for many, many years and won champion boy riders at this age group that we're looking at now. And, of course, then there's someone like myself.
And you even had another little fella that you've forgotten about too.
Who have I forgotten?
A little guy called Max Mackay.
Oh, yes. Well, Max unfortunately, I did forget about Max because
Max was a champion boy rider here for many, many, many years, and then went to become a jockey, and unfortunately had a bad spill. And we lost him to the racing world, but gee, he was a good little rider. In fact, the last I heard with Max, he was going to see if he could study medicine.
So our judge, obviously, at the moment is taking only the rider into consideration. Obviously, the horse must work neatly as well underneath the rider, but she's judging the rider. So Angela herself, as we can see, she's judging our intermediate riding. She's been riding since a very young age and on her ways through Pony Club and to the show ring. So that's where it all starts for most of us, in the Pony Club sections before we go into the show ring. So Angela has been successful with ponies, Galloways and hacks at agricultural, royal, state and national titles to her credit as well. So with numerous Champion Lady Rider awards at Royals and state titles, she's a lady that knows what she's looking for out here when she's judging our intermediate riding. So what will happen now is our stewards will give our riders a workout If you can watch, it's always good if our riders can repeat the workout to the steward to make sure that they have got every aspect of that workout correct. And that being a riding class, I'm sure at some stage or another we will be seeing a sitting trot. Now, I spoke to a very young girl yesterday, of which we put onto air. It was fantastic to hear her. I said, how hard is it to do a sitting trot? Well, she said it depends on the stride of your horse or pony. And it's actually quite a tricky move to do if you've got a bouncy horse, a horse that's got a really big stride. So what it takes is there's those core muscles that we talk about. So you really need to sit deep into the saddle and use those stomach muscles to make sure that your backside stays on that saddle at all times. Easier said than done. So in a moment, we'll watch our first rider onto the workout arena and see if she can demonstrate that for us. So you can see with our big screen TV there, we just demonstrated a sitting trot.
Now, we've just seen a prize example of a young lady here before who's just about to join this class again here, who has gone out there. She's lost her saddle blanket. The saddle started to move. A horse started to get up on the steel. And she did her best to make sure that everything sort of stayed in right. Now she's got a chance to show off how well she can ride out on her own. But the little things that get sent to test you at times. Class number 306 we're watching at the moment, intermediate riding competition, riders 15 years, to be followed by our champion and reserve. Well, our fanfare signifying we've got another set of ribbons to present here. This is for class number 306, intermediate riding competition for riders 15 years. First prize and $60 medallion from the RSV Rosette. Second and third, right down to sixth placing. And our congratulations, as our judges are about to get into line, we'll invite our judge to make the presentation of our trophies. I think we're just about ready. Congratulations go here to rider number 901, Isabella Bold, riding Exotic, exhibited by Mika Morley from Mount Martha in Victoria. Congratulations, Isabella. Second goes to 116, Natasha Moody, riding Da Vinci Code, exhibited here by Bilston and Cunningham from Somerville in Victoria. Third placing to 1677, Abby Shaw, riding Beltano, exhibited by Abby from Swifts Creek in Victoria. Fourth placing to 353, Georgia Adams, riding DP Revenge, of course Georgia from Torquay. In fifth place we have number 573, Madeline Fraser, the Fraser family from Tangil, South Victoria. And in sixth place we have Jamie Kaiser, riding KJC Private Benjamin, and Jamie of course from New Gisborne in Victoria, the exhibitor here as well. So congratulations to our winner. Our blue ribbon goes to Isabella Bold aboard Exotic. And leading up to here, we took in the open rider 14 to 16 at Berwick, the open hack of course at Bunyip, the open hack at Coonamble, took the open hack at Walgett. One place here I cannot even get my tongue around, Golgarbardone. Took out the open hack at Newman and the open hack at Dubbo as well too. Just covered some ground. And now today we see this young lady taking out the intermediate riding competition here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for our riders as they leave the arena here. Isabella Bold taking out first prize in the intermediate riding competition. Natasha Moody was second. Abby Shaw, third. Georgia Adams, fourth. Madeline Fraser, fifth. And Jamie Kaiser in sixth position. We move forward now to the champion intermediate rider, 15 and under 18 years of age, to be followed, of course, by our reserve champion as well too.
I spoke to the PSOs on the platform one night and it all started from there. I grew up always being part of the community, volunteering, and this just kind of takes it to the next level. You're not just helping out, but you're also obviously enforcing the law and making sure that everyone feels like they can get home safe. I love the work-life balance I have being a PSO. I play football along with some other fellow PSO colleagues, so we work our rosters around that. That was the best feeling in the world, was graduating.
What was that?
I think everyone should see it on the school holidays. Best graphics I've ever seen in my life.
Out of 10?
20.
20. Disney's Pete's Dragon.
another 3 kilos.
Doctor, if diet and exercise aren't enough, get your doctor on your side.
Cirque du Soleil's Coosa, Under the Big Top at Flemington Racecourse. Book now.
Handcrafted. Real ingredients. The pride of artisanal quality. Bertocchi since 1972.
At JG King, we throw everything at our steel frames so our homes stand up to whatever life throws at you. With $30,000 of value included at no extra cost, there's never been a better time to step up to steel. JG King.
I want a Sunday kind of love, and I'd like to know it's more than love at first sight. I want a Sunday kind of
The return of the affordable Sunday roast.
That's why I pick Woolies.
Good, that's right too. Well, our next class out here in Ring 1 is our champion intermediate rider, 15 and under 18 years. And thanks to our friends at Tough Rock, product pack supported by Tough Rock Proprietary Limited. And of course, the eligible classes to compete here are the winners of classes 305 and 306. So in ring 2 at the moment, we are beginning our gentlemen's riding competitions over here. This is class number 296. This is our gentlemen's riding competition riders, 30 years and over. You ready? Fanfare? Well, our champion intermediate rider, 15 and under, 18 years of age. Those results coming through in a few moments' time. I'm just waiting for results to come through on our gentleman down the far end there. And that is class number 296 we're waiting on. So a champion intermediate rider, 15 under 18, and our reserve currently being judged at the moment. And just awaiting confirmation of our winner down in ring number 2. Well, I think we might have a small problem with our communications down there, but I can see clearly who our winner is. And if our judge would like me to announce that, just put your hand in the air and I will. Thank you very much, Sam. All right, our winner down here, Clint, I hope it's you underneath that hat. I'm in awful trouble if it's not. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please put your hands together for our winner of the particular class down here at 296, our gentleman riding competition, Mr. Clint Bilson. A judge doing our senior riding. We welcome from South Australia today, Samantha Kennedy. Mrs. Samantha Kennedy has been involved with show horses and ponies and show jumpers for many, many years. Samantha has had great success competing at royal and state level. Has also judged at numerous agricultural, state and royal shows across Australia. The privilege of watching this young lady riding at the Adelaide Royal. And a very competent rider she is too. Good to see her across here as a judge today. Congratulations, Clint. Well done. Well, ladies and gentlemen, class number 309S, champion intermediate rider. And this is for 15 and under 18 years of age. Thanks to our friends at Tough Rock. Product pack supported by Tough Rock for this class as well too. Ladies and gentlemen, our champion for 2016, number 1869, Bryony Lee riding SLM Valentino. It's with pleasure now I call forward our reserve champion. And ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for number 901, Isabella Bold, riding Exotic. Congratulations, Isabella, our reserve champion. The girls, a little high five. I think from Isabella's point of view, looking at that body language, that was a little bit of a shock, but well done, congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, our champion and reserve, intermediate rider, 15 and under 18. Okay, here we go, boys. Yes, well, I think it's fitting that we, as our champion and reserve, leave the arena here, that we leave the arena to the throngs of simply the best. Well, our next class in ring 2, we welcome the gentlemen back out again, and it's class number 297, the gentlemen's riding competition for riders 18 and under 30.
Join Thomas
Maybe I can do anything I want to.
in a thrilling musical adventure.
I'm full of surprises.
Are you singing, Diesel? And discover if he has what it takes to get to the Great Railway Show.
I've got to get across. I can't stop now.
When was the last time you did something you couldn't? When was the last time you shocked everyone and helped change the world too? Oxfam Trail Walker. Register at trailwalker.oxfam.org.au.
I love Daryl Lee.
I love Daryl Lee.
I love Daryl Lee.
I love Daryl Lee.
We love Daryl Lee.
We love Daryl Lee.
We love Daryl Lee. We love Daryl Lee. We love Daryl Lee.
loved by Australians since 1927.
Well, moving down to ring two, class 297, the gentlemen's riding competition. This is for riders 18 and under 30 years of age. And our congratulations here go to 373, Troy Wilson riding Shakira. Congratulations, Troy. Second went to 739, Casey Shevlin riding Lismere Showtime. And our third ribbon went to number 1698, Blaine Perkins riding Meteor Showers. So congratulations, Troy Wilson, taking out the gentlemen's riding competition rider 18 and under 30 years of age. That was class 297. Well, judging in ring 2 at the moment is class number 301S, our champion gentle rider, 18 years or over. That's 301S, and our judge there, Samantha Kennedy. Meanwhile, here in ring 1, we are judging our intermediate riding competition here for riders 12 and under 14 years of age. Well, our Class 301S champion gentleman rider, 18 years or over, has been judged down in ring 2. And time for us to announce who our champion is. We'll invite them up to our little avenue of honour here. And then, of course, we'll announce our reserve as well, too. So, gentlemen, if you'd like to make your way towards that area, thank you very much. And we may ask Troy Wilson to keep coming on into the avenue of honour. Troy, congratulations, number 373, taking out our champion gentleman rider, 18 years or over. Well done, congratulations. Thank you very much to Tough Rock, product pack supported by Tough Rock Proprietary Limited as well too. Well, time for us to call forward our reserve champion now. It is number 1580, Clint Bilson, riding Exotic. Congratulations, Bilson Cornello. Well, our congratulations to our champion and reserve champion as they leave the arena. Troy Wilson and Mr. Clint Bilson. The Suns Quinella-ing this particular event. Well, the orchestra's in full voice today, aren't they? Time for us to have a look at class number 307. Intermediate riding competition, 14 years. And thanks to our friends at the RASV for the medallion, rosette, right down to 6th placing. Congratulations, we go to 653. And that is Ebony Lee riding Morningside Hot Goss. Second placing, we'll go to number 1538, Isabella McIntyre riding Meteor Showers. Third, we'll go to 846, Ava Halloran riding Gem Park Socialite. Fourth place, we'll go to Caitlin Laban-Mayland riding Rogue Trader. Our fifth ribbon will be awarded to number 678, Stella Patterson. And our sixth ribbon awarded to number 554, Laura Dobson riding Royalwood Centre Stage. Well, congratulations to our winner, Ebony Lee. Second was Isabella McIntyre. Third, Ava O'Halloran. Fourth went to Caitlin Laban-Mayland. Fifth to Stella Patterson. And our sixth ribbon to Laura Dobson. So congratulations, girls. Well done. Well, judging in our two rings at the moment, in ring one, we have class number 308, which is our intermediate riding competition for riders 12 and under 14 years of age. And over in ring two, our judge over there, Neil Carpenter, is casting his eyes across our Galloways, our champion Galloway over 14 hands and not over 15, and our reserve champion also coming out of classes 192S and 193S. Two special events, champion and reserve champion Galloway. And in ring one at the moment, we have our intermediate rider, and then to our champion intermediate rider and reserve as well too. Well, in ring two at the moment, our champion Galloway and reserve champion Galloway being judged. Our reserve has come out to challenge. So we know perhaps which direction the championship is going to go, but who's going to get reserve, we'll find out very soon. Well, getting late in the day, ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls, but it's time where we introduce our champion Galloway, over 14 hands to you, and not over 15. This is section 4 of our saddle section Galloways, the perpetual prize and trophy, the RSV sash and garland to go with it as well too. And ladies and gentlemen, it's with great pleasure that I announce our champion for 2016's number 1850, Roywood Chorus of Love, exhibited by G. Jerry and Al Cleary from Balan in Victoria. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time now we introduce our reserve to you, our reserve champion. The Galloway, over 14 hands, not over 15 hands. Our congratulations go to 1416. Westwards Mastercast, ridden by Bryony Payne Randall. Has she finished, is she? Hey? No, it's not. True. Okay, so that's